The road policing units deal with Britain's busy roads. Lee and Dan have just heard that something's happened on one of the major roads into Leeds.
We've had a call from an elderly female. Basically, she's been in the car with her husband, and it looks like her husband may have had a stroke at the wheel. He's left the road and crashed into a lamppost.
It was looking quite serious. I think information had been passed that the gentleman was unconscious in the vehicle.
We may look at having to close the road for quite some time while we conduct the investigations that we need to conduct, obviously given the medical complications and the age of the parties involved.
Figures show that every 5 minutes someone suffers a stroke in the UK. 9 out of 10 are over 55 years of age. When it occurs behind the wheel of a car, the consequences can be fatal.
He's unconscious still. Just confirming he's unconscious, that's received, thank you.
Obviously, we're not at the scene. We can only go on the information that's being passed, but all the time that's heightening our stress levels, if you like, because we're having to think about what we're going to do when we get there.
An ambulance has arrived.
All right, the gentleman's in the ambulance and
Right, OK. Is this chap still unconscious?
No.
The gentleman wasn't still unconscious, however, there was concern that he may have passed out, leading to the collision.
He's not still unconscious. No, they think he might have lost consciousness just as the collision's happened. At the moment, we think he's all right on the back.
Yeah, I believe it. More than likely, he's had a TIA mini stroke.
Right.
Yeah.
A TIA, or transient ischemic attack, also known as a mini stroke, may have caused the driver to black out.
How are we doing?
He's complained of tummy pain since lunchtime today.
Yep.
And then he says it just got really unbearable. And he says the last thing he remembers is turning round at the island at the bottom.
Right.
But I was just going to have a word with his partner to see what she knows about what happened.
Am I able to jump on and just have a quick chat with him? Is that all right? Yeah, she's in the second car back.
It's still not clear if the driver has suffered a stroke.
Have you eaten anything different to normal? Anything more fatty, like any pastry or a lot more sort of spicy things or? And I think you've had them before, so that's nothing new.
With Lee on the ambulance, Dan speaks with the passenger.
it's your husband and
No, partner.
your partner. Okay, we just need his details. What's his full name?
You've got to be sort of careful how you deal with the other people involved, especially family members in a situation like this.
His partner was saying that basically he's gone a bit funny. He kept saying he felt ill.
Yeah.
She said, pull over now, I'll be back. He's got better now, I feel really ill now.
Yeah.
And then she said he's just gone completely vacant.
He's on the back of the ambulance and he keeps going in and out. He's still conscious, but they're just having to... They're
They
concerned.
don't seem to have any concerns. do they?
Well, I think they're having a few more now because his blood pressure keeps dropping.
The gentleman's partner was still in our vehicle. She's obviously concerned, still shaken up by the collision. But obviously the longer we're there and the longer her partner was in the back of the ambulance, she was getting more concerned as to what was going on.
He's just having some checks at the moment. His blood pressure's a little bit up and down, so they're just doing another couple of checks, which is why I've come off.
They're concerned about the driver's condition, so make a decision.
Hello.
Graham wants to call it. I'm going to go Shut Road. If you can tell Panda to reverse down and shut this junction here so they can't get out.
So the decision was made until we were happy that it got down to the hospital and been thoroughly checked out, that we were going to close the road and deal with it as a serious incident.
Under the circumstances, it has to be investigated. If he had have subsequently died, we'd have been called on to answer to the coroner as to the cause of the collision.
I don't know how you want to do it or how you want to say it. We need to close the road. We're going to treat it as a potential at the moment, just because of his age.
When we're saying we're treating it as a potential, we try not to use that term in front of people at the time, injured parties, etc. Basically what that means is we're treating it as a potential fatal.
It's a precaution, but Lee is aware that the action may cause even more concern for the driver's partner.
I don't know if you want to tell her that maybe just stopping traffic from coming up while we're here, or however you want to put it.
I'll word it nicely.
Yeah. 2-2, just for information, we're going to be closing the ring road at the Barwick Road roundabout. We've just spoken to supervision, so just for information of anybody that might be responding, they won't be able to come up this way. If we put some tape across here, would you just be able to hang in this junction for us, just to stop anybody from coming?
Why he's crashed, no one's certain. Tests on the road and hospital checks might provide some answers. Back in the city, Dan and Lee wait for news on the driver who had a suspected stroke at the wheel. He crashed into a lamppost.
How is he at the moment?
He's all right. We're just going to phone and decide which hospital to take him to, because we're not quite sure.
We've closed the road because we're treating it as a potential
Right.
at the moment, just given the fact that we're not 100% sure how he is.
Had he been a younger guy, we may have looked at it slightly differently, but obviously because of his age, his previous medical history, in that we've been informed he'd had strokes in the past, and then obviously the issues that he'd had throughout the day.
When did he last have a stroke?
2 years ago.
Right. Oops, watch that door.
It's still not clear if the cause of the crash is a stroke or food poisoning. The collision investigation team is at the scene. They keep the road closed so tests can be completed, but it's a Saturday evening on one of Leeds' busiest roads.
The last thing we want to do is leave people stuck on a Saturday evening in loads of traffic, so they're going to have to be waiting a little bit longer, but if we can try and evenly get it through, everybody will be a little bit happier, hopefully.
Were there other factors that caused the crash?
They examine the vehicle, but they also examine the road surface, and they use all their electronic gadgets basically to map out the road surface. What they'll be doing is taking measurements of how wide the road is, how long it is, marking all of the white lines, any debris that may be on the road, any potholes.
Okay. Rob's now just placing a device in the vehicle called Skidman, and what we're going to do now is we're going to do a series of skid tests with the vehicle. They'll basically drive down the road at speed and then slam the brakes on as hard as they can, which will cause the vehicle to skid to a stop. Oh, top front bumper gone. Is it? Can he come off forwards? Is he taking that bumper off? I don't think the wheels are pointing in the same direction. It's always better to do it in the vehicle that's been involved in the collision, because obviously that gives you an exact and true reading of that vehicle. But unfortunately, it's too extensively damaged and it just isn't safe to do so. So what they'll do is they'll do the same procedure but use the police van, which still gives you an indication of the quality of the road surface and the level of grip here today, which we can still use. You made me laugh.
That is my entire aim in life, Dan, to keep you happy.
To members of the public, it can sometimes look like they're just having a bit of a laugh flying up the road and seeing how much they can brake, but it's all about checking the surface of the roads.
The driver is recovering. Now Lee and Dan want to know why he blacked out at the wheel.
Can you remember much more of what happened?
Travelled up towards Seacroft, and at that point in time I don't remember much for about probably, I don't know how long it was, but I must have blacked out at that point and veered off the road and you found me.
You're looking a lot better, than you're a bit more coherent than you were on the ambulance as well. Depending what they say tomorrow, or when they've checked you tonight, will depend on whether we make a referral to the DVLA for you to have a medical examination by them for continued use of your licence.
What we need to be happy with is that the issue that's caused the collision on this occasion has been an isolated incident, i.e. a bout of food poisoning, and it's not an underlying medical condition that he has, potentially due to his age.
And the last thing we want to do is say that you can't drive. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll wait to find out what the doctor's saying. even then, it's not our decision. We'll just make a referral to the DVLA, and they might turn around and say they just want one of their doctors to check you out.
No, thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right,
It's
okay.
quite all right.
Sorry to put you this much.
No, it's not cause
That's what we get paid for, so it's not a problem. At the end of the day, we're glad it's ended up like this rather than any other way, so not a problem. We'll speak to you tomorrow.
All
See you
right.
later. Take care. We've spoken to him. He's got all his family around him now. He's very jovial. He seems very happy. He's hooked up to a drip. He hasn't been seen yet. He's been booked in. He's just waiting to be seen, but he seems a lot happier. So whether it's just been a case of food poisoning or something like that, we're not sure of at the moment. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's all about his safety and everybody else's safety on the road. But fingers crossed, it's nothing too serious, and he'll be back out and about shortly.
After further tests, the mystery is finally solved.
It transpired that the gentleman may have eaten something that had disagreed with him, which had caused some medical issues, and that was what had caused him to black out. He was put on a course of medication, and in the following couple of days was back to normal.